It's time to get into the next match of the day. Let's do it. It's G2 going up against Rogue with the commentary, Shogun, and Final Carpet.
Well, is it going to be a birthday celebration or the birthday bumps for JNAPS? We're going to get ourselves into G2 versus Rogue, and a lot riding on this one. G2 struggled last season. They didn't make it through the playoffs. You've got to be looking at this week and saying, if they can go 2-0, they can probably avoid that entirely and maybe just make it in to land straight from the off.
I mean, since they are kind of just that 50-50 coin toss team, you really have to worry about not just them making it through league play, but then playoffs to push into LAN if they don't put themselves in a top contending spot. And at this rate, it's not looking like they're going to auto-qualify. They're probably going to put themselves into playoffs, and they need to play through that as well. They haven't been able to pull it off. Will they be able to? I don't really know. You know, actually, it was my birthday this year.
Was it?
Yeah. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday!
Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations, Carpet. How old are you now?
Old enough.
Okay. So let's get ourselves into the second game of this week's North American League play. So Matt's going to hold himself on that wall just for the time being, wants to leave it instead for Insolences. Insolence has really been the most interesting player to watch on Rogue throughout the season. He's going to be trying to shut that one down, almost a guillotine sort of shot. And once again, Sizz putting the pressure back on G2, who can only resist the Rogue offense right now. But watching Insolences adapt to his new team and really find his new role has been so interesting over the last few weeks. We were wondering how he was going to do. He's actually taken up the same roles he had last season of a ball carrier, and he's been holding back. He is now the backbone of this Rogue squad, and he's going to need to be stronger than ever if they want to take this win.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know if him holding back has to do with either they kind of made that agreement, they all predetermined before the game started, like, hey, this is how we play better, or maybe he just doesn't feel as comfortable since Matt and Sizz have been performing together for such a long time.
Well, it's something that he's definitely very conscious of. #1 right now in North America in assists per game. He's aiming for it in almost every single goal on Rogue. Starts with him. Sizz now picking that one up just over the top, but JNAPS and the rest of G2 slowly inching their way forward down the pitch. They start to challenge more and more. Now Kronovi gets himself on the ball. He's going to struggle though with 0 boost. But now G2 are going to have their opportunity, their chance to now move forward into Rogue's end and see if they can create something. But Sizz plays that one long. They get it back into G2's half. Both these teams struggling to really create solid opportunities for themselves, but really has looked like that one of those game one feeling out sessions.
Almost always is, without a doubt. These teams just like making us watch and learn game #1, which is always good knowing how they're going to perform the rest of the series. Feels that Rogue are playing a bit tighter than G2. They seem to be interrupting a bit more plays here and there. But as you said, not a lot of threats on either side.
Shot there, going to be set up, using that backboard. Insolences wants to cut that one down and passes it straight to Sizz, who leaves boost for Insol. They're going to try and go together up downfield. Crow beats Matt. There's an opportunity now for G2 to come forward, but the pass, it's one of the most annoying things in Rocket League. The pass was good, but it was too high and too close to the crossbar that you just can't do anything with it.
Oh, Insolence is turning around immediately to try and support Sizz, but it might backfire on him.
Oh, goes off the crossbar. Follow up there by JNAPS. Opening goal to G2 eSports.
They know what they're up against. You saw Insolence's turn around immediately, but he got outpaced instead by JNAPS. He was unable to meet there, but they know what they have to shut down for G2, because when G2 is on one of their own games, which you kind of just need to expect, you don't go in assuming you're going to face the not-so-great G2. Because then you're probably setting yourself up for some failure. But they are really trying to smother as much as they can on defense.
They've done a good job of it so far, but it is, as it always is in Rocket League, one mistake, one time being beat to the ball can make everything so difficult as G2 look for #2. As JNAPS puts that one down, Insol has to get there. Rizzo's got an opportunity to try and turn around. Really had his breakout week last week. Some insane performances, really the catalyst that took G2 past Cloud9 as they try and get past the Rogue defense one more time. Still 1:50. Insol gets bumped by Sizz. That's going to really slow down this offensive opportunity for Rogue as they continue to run out of time. Crow, another long clear. Sizz puts that one up high. Rizzo going to look for the corner. Rogue starting to press that a little bit more. But because G2 have got everyone back right now, it's going to be so difficult to beat every single player. Really need a passing play if you really want to take it past them.
They know how to pull it out, though. You see them going for the midfield defense passing plays because they understand that if G2 is really all sitting back in net. They're not going to be advancing quick enough, and that'd be a quick way to turn it around, but that last pass just a bit out of reach for Insolence.
Sis sticking around for a while. Matt tried to get there in time, but once again, G2 slingshot defense for them, putting everyone back, moving straight into the block zone. We hit the final 55 seconds. Looking to play it with sight. Insol finds himself too far forward, has to try and rotate back and then play it again. Offering G2 now their opportunity to move forward, and Sizz with yet another clear, looking for Insol. They're going to try and keep it off the floor. Some keepy ups. G2 now back on the offense. It's the last thing that Rogue needs. But really, G2's rotation, probably the best we've seen it out of the 2 seasons that this team's been together. Kronovi holding back a lot more. He's actually been one of the main defenders on this squad, allowing Rizzo to hold that mid line. And it's working out so much better for them. Kronovi then takes the shot. And Rogue's still unable to get out of their half.
G2 knows what kind of place they put them in. Less than a minute left, 1 to score. You know they're about to have to play some kind of hyper-aggressive play, pull out a net as quickly as possible, and really try the attack out. But it's looking like this will go down. G2 are going to get the first win of the series, but only by 1 goal. 1 goal to 0. 1 goal to 0.
That's not been a rarity for them at all this season. It's actually one of their very rare clean sheets. That's only going to be their second of the entire season. North America has been a very high-scoring region, so it's actually quite a consistency across all of the teams. But G2, yet again, win by 1 goal. That is the 8th time they've managed to do that across 10 attempts.
They were up by 1 goal, but they were up by 6 shots. They had 10 shots to only 4 for Rogue. So Rogue did struggle to turn it around and try and get control. But in the very beginning, in the first minute and a half or 2 minutes, it really was all in Rogue's hands. They had a lot of the control. They were stopping everything G2 had, but once G2 got the ball rolling, once they were able to just confidently go from defense to offense and back without any kind of interruptions, they really started to take it to Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue's main problem there, though, was a lack of offensive creativity. Every time they had it forward, they had plenty of opportunities, but they weren't stealing the boosts, and it meant it was very difficult overall for that team to just get anything going when you need Sizz and Insol really looking around on that pitch for strong passing opportunities. But every time they were trying to play off the backboard in G2, they already had everyone back, just going, sure, we can deal with this pretty simply.
And Rogue had some good ideas, but just a little bit off on execution. I saw really good. I think it was Matt that cleared it all the way out from his defensive side. Insolence is at the midfield, trying to get a redirect towards net to try and, trick up a defender. If you're going to take a quick shot, obviously your best time to do it is when they're retreating, because they're going to have a bad touch, or at least a weak one. It won't be a clear. At the very least, it'll probably be towards the corner because they're going to be facing backwards. So if you want to have a really hard counterattack touch, you're going to put it towards net, if anything, just to make that defender use the remainder of his boost, push it to the corner, and then you have somebody already there in the corner to try and push that through.
Yeah, and especially when you go for that sort of start, I don't understand why you'd ever do that against G2. G2 have a player on here. He's called JNaps. His first touch is sublime. It's very capable of... A lot of people try and control the first touch. He is creative straight from the off. He starts dribbles straight away, knows how to get it past players, and that is really what could end up costing Rogue. I want to see them make more use of the walls.
Yeah.
Start with, I want them to go up the walls and then pass it straight into the middle. Currently, right now, they're playing long balls all the time, which I just don't think is going to work against the more solid rotational team.
Well, the tough part is if you're going to keep control, especially against G2, then you're going to have to deal with 50-50s. And I know Kronovi is also one of the players that I think is great at contesting the ball. So if you're going to be Rogue, you want to slow it down and pull it out. You have to be careful when they're going to contest, or at least have somebody trying to read. But I did see a lot of really good ideas with Rogue. At one point, Insolence was retreating. He saw Sizz on defense for the hit, so we turned right around immediately to support him. But sadly, someone from G2 were just there to beat him. It was just a small positioning thing. So it's really a matter of, yes, it was a feeler game. Yes, things were slow. Rogue seemed to have control in the beginning. So it seemed like they had G2, but G2 adapting quicker. Usually they take the whole series to ramp into whatever they can do, and it's usually just a bit too late for them. But this time it feels like they're starting off strong.
Yeah, G2 definitely with one of their more consistent seasons so far. But Rogue, this is their big opportunity. This is their chance in this game right here, right now, to really make a statement towards the top teams. They've already lost against NRG and Cloud9 this season. G2's the last real pillar team that they've got left to play. A win here kind of gives them a little bit more credibility as a championship contender or as a LAN contender, but another loss, especially if it was a convincing loss, I think there's going to be doubts.
Generally, having that kind of confidence going in through a series is huge. But again, there's something about this season. No one feels too down when they're down by 2 games. We always see them I think that last series with FlyQuest was probably the most dominating Game 3 sweep we'd seen so far this season. Generally, that Game 3, they're fighting to the very, very end. They really want to make sure that they at least have a shot. So most teams really are just rolling over. So I think Rogue can potentially do it. I know they've got the personality for it. Everyone knows Sizz. Although this is the Sizz-Riz duo right here going against each other. So there's a little bit of hate on the field right now.
Ooh.
A little bit.
All the time. All the time. But there's been one consistent issue on Rogue.
What's that?
Lack of shots.
Yep.
Currently 8th across everything, yet surprisingly 2nd in goals. That is just ridiculous shooting accuracy that we've seen come out from Matt and Sizz, not Miz.
Matt and Miz.
His Miz.
Sat and Miz.
I preferred my one.
Yeah,
your one.
Yeah, mine. Yeah, not very.
Your
not
one
very
sounds like a sort of boss character in an FPS.
That's not wrong. So okay, when you're going against G2, and I just want to poke your brain about this.
Okay.
If you're going against G2 and you have some sort of semblance of pressure, we've got control. We're in their half.
Yep.
Do we pull them out, or do we start taking shots?
I don't think you can take shots, especially if they've got everyone back. It's the same thing we see when we see Mucket play. Is a case of if you take shots, you're playing into their play style. Because eventually, it's a trap. You're going to see the one opportunity you think, all right, we can commit to this.
Yep.
Then you do, you miss, or they save it. They've got an open net. They just go down and take it. I think G2 is capable of the same. So in that case, I really want to see more Cloud9 or Method style plays of, okay, you're all the way back there. We're going to put this ball somewhere where you can't possibly block it.
Yep.
So we're going to come, put it into the midfield, and then take the shot. But
Seems to be the more dominant meta right now, as players are getting more confident in their defense, which means they're dropping back a lot more. They're confident in their counterattacks, I think is more what it is. But then it leaves that open space in midfield if no one is out there to contest.
So after delay, which we do apologize about, it is time for game number 2. We saw last week how delays can allow teams to just have that little bit of a conversation, bounce back in the game afterwards, and really just look completely different. But have Rogue managed to do it? And you know it would have been Sizz being the loud one, mostly because he's the only one on this entire team that talks.
That's not wrong.
But he talks for everyone on there, literally. As Insol looks for Matt. There's an opportunity there. Sizz and the rest of Rogue will want to try and take this first goal. Still only 1-0 overall across both games. They want to keep this as a low-scoring affair, G2. Now, JNaps looking to ball carry. He's done it very well. There's the setup from Crow, looking for Rizzo, who just didn't have the boost to get himself up there in time. Late on the rotation, and here's Rogue's opportunity, but everyone's now back on G2. Time to see what Rogue is going to do differently this time around. They want to try and break down this G2 defense. Rizzo, one of the only players with boost on this team, is going to have to try and play this well as Crow. Now taking advantage, gets over the top of Sizz, and now Matt, unconventional as well. Means that Rogue are giving up possession, and they give it up pretty easily that time around. As G2 have escaped. JNaps, he's got Crow. Oh, almost managed to get there, but everyone in the way. And now Rogue got their opportunity to go to the other end of the pitch. A long clear, both these teams still looking almost like it's game 1 still. Very little in the way of individual plays coming out where they're really trying to show off some of those mechanics that we know that these players have. Here's JNaps with his opportunity, takes the early shot. But those plays will just not work against either of these squads.
The moment you see G2 get control, it's almost like they just have some kind of formation. They really start attacking as a pair of 2. They understand where each other are. Almost like they have a set play. They're prepared whenever they gain control. It's really cool to see.
Both these teams very good examples, actually, of the North American team formation that we usually see, which is 1 player back, 2 players forwards. There's going to be an opportunity off the side. But just having that designated player that you know is going to be back for the majority of the time. Rizzo usually on that side, but it's big for Novi more this season. Here is the man, though, that does that role for Rogue, and he opens up the scoring in game 2.
This touch from Sizz again on the backboard. both Rizzo and Kronovi thinking they had to make that save. I do agree that one of them should have tried to contest that and hoped that they could reach it in time, because bouncing in front of net is so dangerous. But again, only one of them needed to do that. Someone staying grounded would have at least forced Insolence to think a bit more about a shot, but a wide open net he will not miss.
But he's gonna have an opportunity yet again. He's taking it past one. Here's JNaps. He's also been bitten. Sizz. Oh, if he could grow that car into a limo, I'm sure he would. But he's just not going to get there. Here's G2's opportunity to try and turn it in, but they have now lost major possession, or at least pressure for the time being. And there's going to be another one, and it's going to go straight in. Oh, it's the danger tackle, and now it's going to be danger zone for G2.
Very fortunate for Matt, I'll have to say, him coming from the inside, Kronovi coming from the outside, hoping that would pinch inwards, but Matt was just too far up and too far in for that, and the 50 went so incredibly in his favor that it went directly in the net. You know, who would have thunk it?
Who would have indeed? But Rogue, this is not necessarily a one game for them just yet. They have dropped multiple 2-0 leads. This season, they'll be looking to try and make sure that this one is converted, as Rizzo is going to try and make sure that that is not the case. As the rest of G2 now starting to move themselves forward, they now know what they must do, and what they must do is score if they want to keep this in their favor. There's JNaps over to Crow. Crow flicks it up. There's going to be an opportunity, but Rizzo second-guessing it for a little while, thought to himself, does he want to go for a pass or an assist? That, however, is an own goal. That one is the wrong decision.
The wrongest, generally. There's the dancing unicorn. Someone told me I'd be excited when I saw that, and I'm a little excited to see that. And there it is, a little bit of mispositioning. Good idea and intention. You want to get the pass back so that your team can gain control, but you generally want to pass back to a teammate, which was the big flaw in that. He passed back into his own net.
Well, better news there for you Rogue fans. They don't drop 3-goal leads. They haven't done so this season, and I don't think they're going to start now. Just over 1 minute remaining. Here's Matt. Gonna get beat to it by JNaps, who had more boost. Now Rizzo gets himself up in the air. He's been held back a lot more this series, I should say. More in that third-man role that I just don't think he's the best at. I think that there's better options on this G2 squad to fill that role. Sizz looking for the middle. For the time being, Rogue just want to prevent all pressure from being on their side, as they were going to wind down this clock. Final 35. There's an opportunity from JNaps.
Nice read.
Really one of the largest components of those air dribbles, but everyone back on the side of Rogue is going to make it very difficult to just get any sort of offensive pressure. Insol with the shot. He's going to try and follow it up. Insol and Sizz refusing to give this away. They want 4 goals. Who cares about a 3? Final 12, and it looks like Rogue is going to do it. We are going to be all tied up in this series. 1 game apiece. And Carpet, for you, what was the major difference in Rogue?
It almost felt like G2 were the ones that were falling for traps, where they'd come up just a bit too far, and Rogue were really able to turn that around into something that was a lot of control for them. They were really able to just make sure that they got it in, and they got the shots, they got the passing plays. They were just making it around 1 or 2 defenders on G2. And none of it, I mean, they were using the midfield here and there, but even the ones that were using the backboard, they seemed to have a lot more control. They seemed to actually be able to get it around G2 defenders. But it felt like G2 were a little late to get there, so Rogue, I think, picked up the pace. They tried to feel a lot more confident in their attacks, and they were kind of trying to trap G2 in the same situation. It's like, come on, I dare you. Go for this. 2 of them come up for it, and now, again, they're doing their retreating defense, which everyone's getting better at, but
it's still hard.
It's still retreating defense.
Like, whenever you're in retreating defense, there is no option you have which doesn't result in you going, all right, but we still have to play.
Yeah.
Like, we're still not out of this defensive situation, because you're almost always going either off your own backboard or you're pushing it to your corner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's explain it, right? So if you're on retreating defense, if I'm last man, my job is to just buy as much time as possible for my team. That is my only job. I'm not going to be getting any shots. I'm not trying to clear it. If you clear it, you're just going to have to worry about a shot.
Yeah.
So you always want to keep control and buy time. So you trap it in a corner, you maybe try and take it up the wall, get ready to get a 50-50. You let them come to you. You pull in another attacker, you let them come to you, you get a 50. By then, hopefully, someone comes back. The second guy's job is just to fill net, generally.
Yes.
You want to fill net, and the third guy's going to go support the dude that's trying to buy time. It's usually, I mean, obviously it's situational, so I'm not going to blanket this. But that's usually what you'll see on retreating defense, and teams are just getting so much more efficient with it, but you are still never going to get that you know, clear when you're facing the wrong direction, or, you know, also because it's just not a good idea.
Right, well, we're going to take ourselves a recess from Carpet's Classroom and give ourselves the third game. In this series, Rogue taking that last one. Both these teams picking up rare clean sheets for themselves in this series so far, as there's opportunities now. G2 expect them to try something very different, and something different involves getting dunked by Insol. But JNabs had the wherewithal about him to get back in time, save the ball, and G2 are going to stay in this opening minute.
Rogue again with the speed. You see how fast they're turning around, no hesitation at all. The moment they have any control of it in midfield, someone just turns around and contests it, which is then making G2 dedicate somebody when they generally didn't really want to. It wasn't going to make a great touch and then lose control.
Oh, there's another long ball from Matt, and this is exactly what you were talking about from the last series. Just how G2 might be getting pulled out a little bit too far. Granted, they are leaving one person back, but still 1v2 is not a situation that you want to be in. Rizzo does have a tendency of just tapping out that ball rather than trying to control. Here's Crow. Takes time to get himself some boost. Does end up losing the ball, but he's gone straight back over to JNabs. Almost down with the opening 90 seconds in this matchup. As Insol is going to have an opportunity. There's just a slight. I think the call for the demo came in just a little bit too late from Sizz, and Insol couldn't correct himself in time because he would normally hit that.
He actually had no more boost.
Oh, well, that explains a lot.
He wanted it. And I think he had the time and control, but he just had no more boost to follow that through.
Matt puts it high. Once again, aiming for that last defender. They're just trying to force this right now. This Rogue squad. As they dig that shoulder in and try and just grab and pull the ball towards the opposing net. Throw over to the corner. Now Sizz actually gets beat by that. There's going to be opportunity now for G2 to start collecting themselves some boost and reposition themselves and reevaluate their offensive strategy, because so far they're not really getting too far and they're not putting anything that can be too dangerous. Oh, yet again. Ooh, that's on target. G2 will get caught. Rizzo and JNabs being forced to both come together to try and get that one away, but every single time we see it happens, Carpet becomes more and more correct. There is a problem for G2 if they get caught right there. There's Rizzo by himself, pushes into the corner, looking for JNabs, and JNabs just slaps that one straight down onto the floor. But Matt, looking for the angle, almost got there.
We've seen him do it before.
Matt, one of the players in North America, just can shoot from absolutely everywhere. I would love to see a shootout between him and Corrupted G. Next land, if we can get them both there, just put them down on one of the more difficult training packs that are out there, and we'll just see who can complete it first.
With 100%?
100%.
Sounds like a plan.
Rizzo going to try and take this straight down. He's got JNabs waiting for almost a great setup there from Rizzo. JNabs had to try and power himself forward to try and get the shot, but just not quite able to. Still another low-scoring affair between these two teams. As Rizzo backs down, doesn't want to commit too much to the offensive rotations. Now going to hit silver goal territory. One goal becomes so much more important the further on in the game it's scored. It's Matt taking it past, over into the corner. Here's Sizz, also into the same corner. They're just going to slowly break down G2's defense, and once again, just so close to the net.
If that had just been even a tiny bit slower, a tiny bit more in as opposed to towards net, Insolence may have been able to get that.
If that had been more goal, we would have been yes.
The wise words of Shogun.
Praise me.
Of the mega variety.
No one ever brings up the mega part. I don't think they give me the credit I deserve. Just change it every single week. But James Watt can call me Grand Champion Shogun. Thank you, James.
Oh yeah, the bet has been finalized. Kronovi trying to get a tight angle. Matt with the pre-jump. No! After all that, we get to see a popcorn goal.
I haven't seen that one yet. It's absolutely fantastic.
I don't know how I feel about this. The angle from Kronovi actually was pretty bananas. Matt in a bit of a panic. I don't think he had maybe.
There was wrong positioning.
Boost.
He was way too close because he expected the shot to come in.
Yeah.
It's a difficult position to be in, but
The best passes are missed shots.
Hey.
I've said it a billion times, and I'll keep saying it.
they legitimately are. As Rizzo now going to play it to side, 12 seconds.
Matt can do
Let's
this.
tie this up, and they will.
Oh.
Matt has done it.
There it is, just relentless pressure, just going for everything. Rizzo, everyone going for that, and Sizz ended up beating out the entire G2 squad in a single contest. And Matt there just to secure it, almost jumped a bit too high. A weak shot, but it doesn't matter. Empty net, 8 seconds left, tie game.
See if you can count how many G2 players went for that. Spoiler alert, it was way too many. And now we're all tied up, looking for overtime. As long as this ball touches the floor, but JNaps might have something to say about that. It will touch the floor. And it is now time for overtime. Rogue chasing their first overtime win of the season. If they can, they will put this series up to 2-1 in their favor. However, they're going to have to deal with some defensive questions to start off this overtime. Kronovi with the setup over to Rizzo. Rizzo with the setup to Kronovi. Almost a great 1-2 play. Rogue can be very, very twitchy when it comes to their defensive play. Don't want to see them just diving towards it all. Sizz gonna leave it for Insol. Here's JNaps now off the wall. Expect him to go for the air carrier, and he will. That's the setup. 2 players now committed. Rizzo, 1 touch, gonna go for the double tap. G2 take the win.
All the time in the world, and Rizzo will take it. Popcorn explosion, just to kind of put a little bit of salt and butter in the wound. Rizzo there for the second touch. That first shot from JNaps, the carry all the way across, forced a panic on defense. 2 going for that save. I almost want to give that to JNaps, since Rizzo had. If Rizzo missed that, he would have been peeved.
This is the conversation we had on overtime during the week. Which, by the way, if you don't watch overtime, you really should. Best analysts.
Yeah,
Best
honestly, you get to hear me and Shogun talk, and there's some other people on the show. But
Yeah, they're not important.
yeah.
But we talked about just how useful the air dribbles can be and when they should be applied. That right there is when you apply it in a very difficult position for Rogue to deal with. Force 2 players up because they knew, we got to respect JNaps. We know he can do some damage. So they both went, and there is Rizzo. The whole point of that air dribble is to just cause damage on the defense. That's exactly what he did.
JNaps probably knew that he wasn't going to be able to put it in.
No.
Now, his goal was to make it as close to going in as possible, because if somebody makes a mistake, well, maybe it'll go in. But the situation, as you said, was to force those defenders to make a move. And since no one was coming from a correct angle, a lot of situations when you're coming from a dribble, the reason it's so good to take a dribble from the side is because you have a lot more angle to swipe the ball out. Generally, when people dribble, they go left to right.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm coming to you, I'm going to drop it right. If I'm coming from the left or the right to contest that, the ball doesn't actually do anything. Technically, it's just getting a little bit closer, a little bit further from me, which is a lot easier for me to adjust as opposed to turning and or jumping. So same with air dribbles, he knew that he had an angle on these 2 guys. They couldn't contest it the way they wanted to. No one on that backboard, and he was still coming from a weird spot in the corner. So really, really well thought out by JNaps to go for that.
Showing off why he is the #1 player in score per game in the league. JNaps just a consistent when it comes to an inconsistent G2 squad. As now we are going to be in match point for G2. If they can take this, it will be over. I don't think they want to keep this one going for too long, considering they do have NRG to be playing on. In our last game of today's broadcast, there's going to be a shot from Sizz. Still pressure now for Rogue. This is how they scored last time, and that was effectively in until the Pincherino on the side of the wall.
Rip Leaf.
That came out of nowhere right there, but so did that pinch.
Something he would say.
Oh no. What have we compared? There's Rizzo. Put that one straight up over into the side of Kronovi. They're trying to take out 1 player at a time. Here's G2 to remove Rogue's defense, but it is not going to work out. And now Rogue have got their opportunity to move onto the offensive end. Rizzo looking for JNaps. Just not quite getting there in time. So it is intercepted, but Kronovi holding that back line. He's going to now use that wall. Can he get up there? No, leaving it for JNaps instead. Here comes the shot. Just not quite in, as it has been saved away by Matt.
Curious to know if that was an intentional fake out by Kronovi, acting like he was going for it and then just flipping out to the
I
side.
think he got called off.
If he didn't, that'd be a really cool way
That
to
would be
misdirect.
really cool, but I refuse to give the benefit of the doubt.
I'm with you.
I'm British, Carpet. We are always the most negative option is the best one. Here's Rizzo on the side. Gonna get it past Insol. Can he get it past Ziz? No, he cannot. Ooh. Seems like G2 are gonna be put in their own half, but this has been a position that they've usually dealt with so well. Not this time around though. Ziz with the Hellfire.
I was a little bit scared he wouldn't make this. Matt really just going for the contest. Rizzo and JNAP's caught off, and you see Kronovi getting antsy. He wanted to help support that, and he really didn't need to come that far out of net. He still needed to be very aware and weary of something bouncing mid. Now, that was faster than I think most people expected, but he had two people in the corner. He should have stayed more centralized so that he could get a save. Although, I don't think it really mattered in that situation, but, you know, I'm nitpicky.
There's gonna be the ball up high. Here comes Matt trying to turn it in, but it will be blocked. Another long ball, JNAPS. Trying to get off that backboard, but it will be covered by Sizz. And there is the demo on Insol. He's going to be removed, but you will actually appreciate that. Ow, well, maybe not. He's been taken out twice in a row. That's just wrong. Don't pick on him. JNAPS back over to the side, just going to give his team a little bit of reprieve, recognizing the fact that the rogue offense was pretty close to him, and now is the rogue offense. We're going to see now Matt with the flick. He takes out one player, but it will not matter. G2 have reinforcements for reinforcements, and they can get there.
But them sitting on defense that hard means it's going to be really tough. Oh, what if? How did Matt just make that shot? I don't know. At first I thought it was a flick. Then I realized it was just a tap. Just a juicy little tap.
Sizz and Matt once again, but Matt, that shot was fantastic.
That was amazing.
Those two both fighting out currently towards the top end of the goals per game. Maybe the best striker of the season. So yeah, Matt Sizz, I can completely understand that. Steal that goal all you want. Make sure you get a hold of that prize money at the end of the season, even if he is your teammate.
They're probably just going to split it if they come in first and second.
Don't ruin my dreams here. This is Sizz. I just want him to hold it in front of Matt and just go, nah. There's Sizz. Now over in the corner. Does miss the pass, but it is going to be Insol. A bit too heavy on his first touch. Still 2-0 for Rogue. Would expect them to go on to convert this game into a victory, but here's G2 with their opportunity to now start pressing. Kronovi passes over to Rizzo, who will fake out the shot. And now it's a little bit more dangerous.
At this point, he faked out both the shot and the potential bump here. Rizzo going for the jump. I think Sizz following the ball, hearing the jump from Rizzo. At that point, you're just listening. Once you hear that jump and you know it's an opponent, you're like, oh man, what do I got to do? Because you trust that he's jumping for a reason, right? You trust he has a mission.
Oh, there's going to be another shot. But yeah, I 100% understand that you've got to respect Rizzo when he's in that final third just lurking. Saw him last week. It wasn't necessarily a slap, more like a splat as he took out C9 defenders. As Sizz, okay, that's his own version of it, and he does set up for Matt. 2-goal lead reinstated.
I mean, this was just a clean body. Oh, no, no one even touched it. I thought he blocked it, and then he touched it with his butt at the very end. All right, well, unconventional, but that's the Matt Sizz way, I guess. I thought he blocked it. I thought he bodied it.
You and me both, my friends.
I mean, it was still a good idea, right? He wanted to make sure that it dropped, so he put the flat, weak side of his car. The underside of your car does react with the ball a lot. Oh, no, nope, rip. Yeah, we're not gonna.
That's not great. Oh, dear.
He just started banging close one to himself.
Yeah. You almost got there, Sizz. You almost got there.
I'm like watching his camera. I swear to God, it's looking like he hits it. I swear.
Well, Sizz is very usually consistent off that back wall.
He jumped off with confidence. He knew he had it. Well, he thought he had it.
He wasn't sideways enough.
True.
So, final 50 seconds. Rogue thought they'd managed to clinch it, but we are now back into clinch time, rather instead. This is JNAPS looking for the pressure. Rizzo wants to get there, but he's just thinking about it. Final 30 seconds. G2 still trailing by that singular goal, but if they can get it, they can force yet another overtime and maybe finish off this series, or Rogue are going to hold on and put us into a tie-breaking Game 5. Going to see what G2 have got with their final throw of the dice. More and more Oh dear, just throw yourself. Don't even worry if you hit the ball. There's going to be the pass stroke straight to the middle, and Rizzo just gets intercepted before he can get there. G2 and Rogue are going to go to Game 5 yet again.
No, we know that Rogue kind of lost a lot of leads last week, so I was happy they didn't, or else I would have had to call them Throgue. Luckily, they didn't do it. I'm saying this out loud because I was happy with the name Throgue, and I want the world to know it exists.
Do it.
I'm happy that
Force it if you have to.
No, they didn't do it though. They kept it. They kept it together. 3-2, ramping up now in goals and shots. Look at Rogue just tearing away with the shots. 13. Look at that math real quick. 13-5. Rogue really taking it to G2. It really just feels like they've paced it up.
Every time you do any sort of math, I just see the singular sweat drop.
One sweat drop?
Just one. And it's always from the same spot. I think that's where the math is in your head.
I probably shouldn't admit that I spent 5 years in college doing math, but whatever.
Wait, what?
Yeah, whatever. We'll talk about it later. Anyways, Rogue really seems to have picked up the pace. They really, honestly, are just fast. A lot faster than we saw them in Game 1. Maybe, I don't know. It's a little speculative because it's very hard to define speed. But they're winning 50-50s and they're beating them to a lot of balls. That's pretty much the definition.
Distance divided by time.
I mean, yeah, but I'm not
thought you
about to
did
do
this.
that. I did, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Nope.
See, it's the same thing as all of us do. As soon as we leave school, you just forget everything. I don't remember anything about Pythagoras. I almost didn't say it right.
I forgot it was a guy.
Actually, yeah, it was.
Yep.
It was named after a guy, but who will be
There's a bunch of
naming...
people in geometry right now, like, getting triggered. Like, I took a break from homework to do this. Stop talking about it.
But who will we be naming this series after with the win? Game number 5. The first time this season now for G2. They have not been pushed this far before, whilst on the other side, Rogue won their only other Game 5 this season. Who's going to take this one? It's going to be crucial for G2 if they want to keep that pressure on the top two of NRG and C9. Here's their opportunity. JNaps didn't get it, but Sizz, kudos to him. Not even giving JNaps any respect that he would hit that, instead reading Rizzo instead.
What a drop from Insolence, but now left all alone. Matt has to get it.
Sacrificing the body. Matt gets there just in time. Rizzo also taking out Sizz, and JNaps tried to turn that in himself using the Doomsy Dish. For those shots from that back wall. So very difficult to do as Kronovi's got to try and chase this one straight all the way back. Matt plays over to the middle. He's got Insult to get there. Almost perfect. Sizz now playing that one up. It's going to be Matt there first, but he does get blocked by JNaps. This first goal going to be so telling for this series. Every single game so far has been won by the team that has got the very first goal. Drop straight down. Insol just not there in time. And now every single player by Rogue is down in the other end of the field. Sizz gets taken out. JNaps going to play this one early. Insol can't get there, and JNaps takes the opening goal.
A bit of a smoke screen, and again, a body from Sizz. He tried to slow this down, got blown up immediately. JNaps thinking quickly the moment that slowed down to take that shot into the upper 90. Rogue really did seem to have a lot of control, though, that entire first minute and a half. But dedicating just a bit too hard for that last push.
It's got too much control.
Too much.
You just think you've just got it. Same thing I was talking about earlier when it comes to, yeah, that's our opportunity, and you just take it when it just wasn't. You didn't quite need to commit to that all or nothing style of play. But G2 have been very physical so far in this game. Removing Rogue players left and right with those demos. Now Sizz pushing that straight towards the G2 end. I think there was better options there for him. He should have controlled it instead. That's going to be played straight back down into Rogue's half. Oh, wow, what a touch there from JNaps. It's going to set the opportunity up, and Kronovi almost got there, but Sizz playing the shot instead gets the block. Sizz, we get another block there as well, and you have to assume that Matt did not have any boost, otherwise he should have been going for the shot.
He's still struggling for boost, waiting in the back corner. Finally, he'll get some just in time to try and push this through.
Soul up, that is, yeah, Matt's card does not jump that high.
A little too high. Now they're in a tight spot. Sizz needs to touch this to the corner, and he does so.
Two players from G2 in that corner. Insol with a little flick on. Crow can just buy some time. Oh, Rogue not looking confident, and Kronovi can turn it in.
It honestly feels like Kronovi just started button mashing. The flip he had there, he landed, got the flip. What? What was that?
That was the, I need to get a shot. I mean, I want to say it was unintentional, but I think that was intentional.
I think he started that flip. He's like, oh no, I botched it. And then it went and he's like, oh, I didn't botch it.
Oh, I'm great. I'm the best.
I am the mountain.
Speaking of mountains, there is one to climb in this game. Rogue need to pull this back. They have not pulled back any 2-goal deficits all season. What a time it would be to start, but that is a big ask with 2 minutes remaining in this tiebreaker game. You see G2 and JNaps all just willing to take their time, knowing that the corner is actually one of the most safe positions on this map for them. As long as they don't let Rogue get clean touches. More time being wasted as well. Rogue are looking scattered, they're looking disorganized, and they almost looked like they were 3 goals down.
They just know they need to put something in. Minute and a half, 2 goals against G2, who understand how to retreat on defense when they need to. They're trying for these counterattacks, but it does sometimes make a bit of chaotic play. Oh, nice back and forth.
Matt with the set. The insole is just too close. They already get a run up on that shot. Rogue needs something, and they need it right now. Insole can take the shot. JNaps was getting bumped in the background by Sizz, but there is another long ball. Will that be the last? It is. And you have to say at this point, it's looking like a G2 series.
Mighty Grim, a minute left, 3 goals on G2. Matt, I mean, he had no choice. He wasn't going to retreat to save it. He wasn't going to meet it in the air, so he tried to meet it before it took its path, took its trip down to memory lane into his goal.
Well, final minute remaining. It is now an impossible task for Rogue.
Improbable.
Improbable? Sure. We're going to have to try and get something. Insole makes it 1. Okay, there we go.
See, if you never make definitive statements, you can never be totally wrong.
Yeah, but it also sounds better. I don't mind being wrong for the state of just saying,
Fair
oh, it was a
enough.
miracle that they did it.
Fair enough.
Either way, 49 seconds left. 2 goals. Rogue have scored more kickoff goals than anyone else this season. They tried to make it yet another one. As Sizz over into the corner. There's the setup. Insole just can't get there. How many times has that been the setup? And they just are not quite there for the shot. There's going to be a pass. Final 30 seconds. Get another long clear. Crow staying in that midfield area. JNaps gets the ball win, and with 20 seconds remaining, they've got time to take it. Insole by himself as Crow just launches that across the face of the net. Final 15 seconds. This is going to be a huge win for G2 as they're setting themselves up for that blockbuster match later on against NRG. Oh, almost managed to turn that one in, but that will be it. 0 seconds remaining. They are now just fighting for consolation. But there we are. G2 take the win. They improve their records to 3-1. And that is going to be so important as they continue to fight for those top 2 spots.
Haunted a bit by accuracy, insolences, 5 shots, 1 goal, and you said it, we really only saw it kind of towards the last 2 games where there were some setups for insolences that he could have either put a little bit more on target or made contact with. But granted, they are more difficult shots. It's not easy ones that he's missing, but they're ones that he should have. I know his skill, and I don't think there's a lot that insolences can't tackle and execute well. So I think there's a little bit on him just being a tad bit off today. But sometimes it's all it takes, being a tad bit off in a game number 5 when you need to score just 1 or 2 goals. That can be kind of the deal breaker. But Rogue taking G2 all the way to game 5, and it looked pretty rough in the first 2 games.
Yeah, every time I look at Rogue, it's just like, yeah, you're fine. I feel like maybe a 4th or 5th spot for them, maybe, depending on how they can perform against other teams that they haven't quite managed to take on just yet, but they're going to be taking on soon. Definitely very soon. Remember, this is a very short season indeed. So I think Rogue are going to be fine for the rest of the season. Can they make LAN? That's really a question for them to answer, but maybe some other people can give us some insight to that. Who do you think they are, Carpet?
I don't remember their names.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever they are, we're going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Shogun and Finable Carpet. Axel Toss Gibbs and Quinn Lobdell here to talk about that match where G2 holding it together after 5 games. Rogue putting up a huge fight, giving us an awesome series in our second match of the day. Let's take a look at the Mobile One high performance replay from that matchup as G2 holding on and they get a victory in 5 games against Rogue.
And the potential upset was so close for Rogue. I feel like just missed opportunities was the tail of the tape for them throughout this entire series. A lot of just weird angle shots that they would just barely miss, or it was like 3 or 4 passes right up the middle. You have a wide open shot, but they're just inches away from the ball. They just can't catch it. Passes were just a tiny bit off, and in a 5-game series where you're losing 5, that's going to be the difference maker. Then, of course, we have defense, and just once in a while they would make that mistake. Like right there, Rizzo gets the goal on the double commit, and Rogue was so close that they're probably going to be hurting there for this one because they feel like they could have won the series.
Yeah, I think the most frustrating thing for Rogue has got to be just the momentum shift between the two teams all throughout this series. It looked like at so many different opportunities that we were going to see G2 take it, and then it looked like Rogue had so much control. We saw Kronovi, for instance, leaving goal a few times too early, getting a little bit antsy there, and it just kept happening time and time again. And unfortunately for Rogue, their game number 5, we saw the nerves getting to them. They just kind of shut down and didn't really have it all together there.
Plus, maybe it's just birthday luck. Maybe Rogue just barely missed.
True.
This is JNF's birthday. It's very possible. 3
Could be
goals, 3
true.
assists. Good for him.
Might bode well for G2 as they still have another match today. But something that really stuck out to me for G2 there was, what does this team look like when they start? And then what does this team look like if they start encountering some adversity and they start having to, really rise up and overcome some hurdles, where we saw G2 get off to a hot start, I think, in this series, but then Rogue was starting to come back. And then I'm like, okay, does G2 stick with it? Can they hold on to what they're good at, or do they kind of fall apart? Did you guys sense any of that? Did you sense any of that from G2 as far as, being able to stay in control, even though Rogue was putting up a huge fight?
Yeah, the one thing we didn't see is those mistakes we commonly see. Crow trying for the over-rotation, or Rizzo with some poor defensive touches. There was a few here and there from everyone, but that happens every single game. It felt like G2 was in control of the whole series. They knew it would be a close one. It was actually relatively low scoring with 2 of the best offenses right now. So I think they just came in with their game plan. No one had to carry, which is nice. Normally someone does carry on G2, and it seemed like it was a well-balanced attack.
Well, apart from like the always constant JNAP scary.
Exactly.
He was playing great in that series.
Oh, yeah. He played great, but I feel like he didn't have to carry
as hard.
as hard as usual.
Okay, I agree.
So I feel like G2 is right where they want to be right now. They beat Cloud9. Now they beat Rogue, 2 of the best offenses with some pretty good defense as well. So if they can keep that up versus Energy's not known for putting up a ton of goals. So if they can keep up this defense and they get a few of those weird goals in, then who knows?
All right, well, we're going to see both of these teams again a little bit later. Rogue is playing in match number 5 against Renegades, and of course, G2 is playing in the last match of the day against NRG. But first, we have another match coming to you right now. We're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we have Renegades, who are struggling quite a bit this season, going up against Ghost, who are coming off a nice 3-0 sweep over FlyQuest. We'll be right back.